Got a couple shows that are coming up today. Secret Space program show, and also a COVID era nurse is going to give us some good insights, behind the scenes insights on what really happened. And I have I'm getting together with my LifeWave mastermind group. So there's lots of other things I have going on today, but I think this is very, very important to get out right away. George Webb has talked about how there is, hey Tara, how there is some crazy stuff that's going on, right? And I have background on this because when I was in Iraq and other places in the Middle East, we saw that the Iranians were funding weapons caches into mosques, right? So we went into Iraq, and not long after, we started having guerrilla warfare happening quite a bit. And a lot of these places that we were at, they were coming out of mosques, and we knew that. And of course, that's a religious institution, so there was like restrictions on that for quite some time. Now, Nick Shirley here in the United States exposed fraud in the Muslim Somali community. And they took a lot of money out, billions. Guess where a lot of that money's going? It's going into weapons that are being stored in those mosques and learning centers, learning centers, right? So this is one of the things that we learned when I was in Iraq. I was doing protective detail. I headed up a protective detail group down in Diwaniyah in Iraq, which is southern Iraq. Is a farming community. It's along one of the major highways. So the military units would, move up and down the highways, and they'd get, attacked, up and down the highway. Now, and some of the attacks were coming from Diwaniyah. So we learned that the local mosque and the mosque community were having young men, all right, I don't know, 16 to, in their early 20s. These young men were doing the attacks, and these young men started attacking our compound. So we kind of traced it down. We did our own research. Of course, I got a background I had a background as Navy SEAL. I had, other SEALs and Special Forces guys, Rangers, and Green Beret. We tracked down where all of the major head people were that were doing attacks. And we found out where the attacks were coming from, where they were. The young men would go into the local Muslim learning center, right? The mosque had learning centers, and we knew where it was. So I took my group down, and we were asking questions. I remember, we're, body armor, all racked up with, weapons and all kind of crazy stuff. So we're asking locals, and locals were disgusted, just like I'm sure the locals in a lot of these communities in Minnesota are very disgusted with the Somali communities and elsewhere that are, stealing their money, stealing taxpayer money, and then turning it into weapons caches in their communities. All right, so this is just now starting to be exposed by George Webb. All right, George Webb has a Substack, and I've been reading it and following it for quite some time. So he's done the research for years, like I have, and he's basically exposing that they're using this money, this taxpayer money. Of course, they're enriching themselves, but that's a facade for what the real intent of these monies are, and that is to fund these terrorist groups. Now, some of the money goes overseas to terrorist groups, so that they can get trained up and then come to the United States, where there's weapon caches are starting to happen within the mosques in the United States, right? So it's the same process that we went through. So here we are. I'm heading up and I'm asking questions. I had an interpreter, and we're asking questions. Where's this local community center at? And everybody's pointing us in the right direction. They wanted us to go there, right? So I remember like going around this corner, and it was right down the street. I just looked, and right when I went around the corner and looked down the street, all these young men came pouring out of that learning center with AK-47s. Well, we turned around. We didn't want to, street fight right then, but we got back in our vehicles and hightailed it out of there. Of course, we got mortared during the night. We returned fire mortars. They would try and attack, come up on they stopped this really early on because I got out with the M60 machine gun and lit them up as they were trying to come into our compound. Shot an RPG. I've talked about this in the past where I'm looking at the RPG. So I have this crazy capability in a combat zone where I know if the mortars, I can hear the mortars going out of the mortar tube. I know if they're going to come close or not. Crazy. But guys would look at me when they hear the mortars, and I'd be like, run downstairs. So we'd run downstairs, and they'd blow up in our compound, and they'd look at me, and it's like, that's good. And so we're basically firing from the rooftops as they're trying to hit us. So one RPG came straight down the road, and I was looking at it, and I was like, I don't know why, but it's not going to be a problem. And it coming right at our compound. Everybody else is like running and diving, and I'm just watching it, and it got stuck in our barbed wire fence and didn't blow up. It's unbelievable. Explosive ordnance disposal came the next day and took it away and blew it up elsewhere. But crazy stuff that I was tapping into. So they were shooting at us from a gas station. So I knew that gas station. I knew where their tanks were. So I was going to blow those tanks up and blow those guys up while they're trying to shoot at us with RPGs. So I got on the M60, and it has tracer rounds. So tracer rounds are hot, and they will cook off gas. So I'm shooting at the gas tanks, boom, 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 boom. I'm just pouring rounds down range. I'm lighting it up, and then they stopped, and I was like, "Why didn't that thing blow up?" And so we went down there the next day, and I could see where all my rounds had hit. They were all empty. But I saw where the full ones were after that. And so the gas station attendant, or the owner, comes running out, and he's yelling at my interpreter, and my interpreter's telling me, why did you shoot at our gas station? And I was like, well, as long as you have people coming here and shooting from your gas station, the next time they come back and shoot there, they never shot from there again. So now, is it going to be like that in our cities soon, guys? It looks like it. Looks like it. So this is one of the things I really want you guys to be aware of, that these monies are going into these little communities, these Muslim communities in these mosques. Now, you might remember in the Iraq War, there were a couple of my buddies, unfortunately, that were dragged through streets, shot up, burned, dragged through streets. Tommy Helveston, one of them, and they were hung from a bridge. That was Fallujah. All right. So it wasn't long after that the military went into Fallujah and started to really hammer down on the extremists. Who funded them? Iran. Hello. All right. So, and who do you think's funding the terrorists here in the United States? And that those monies? Hello, Iran. So these little negotiations for peace that we're having right now, maybe it's just like get a little bit more time so we can clean house, guys. All right. Now, I've said in other shows where I've looked at some of the takedowns of the ICE going in and doing raids. Those are some of my old boys. All right, the techniques, the way they look, the gear they had. Those are tier 1 guys. All right, SEAL Team 6 and Delta guys that are going in and doing these raids because the enemy's within. So I fought this enemy overseas for most of my life, 35 years. I'm 65, so most of my life I've fought these terrorists. I know these terrorists. I know the way they think. Know thy enemy. I know our enemies. Our enemies are within. They're here in the United States. They're in a lot of these mosques. Now, in Fallujah, they had a hard time, very hard time. It took them weeks. Fallujah is a big city, like New York or Los Angeles or Chicago, big cities, right? So they went into this big city, the military, armored Humvees, they were duking it out hard with these terrorists, right? That were funded by Iran, and they were going into the mosques, and they're hiding in the mosque, and they're getting their weapons, getting their ammo refurbished, and they're coming back out and fighting. So we knew that eventually the military got the okay to blast those mosques if they knew that they were being utilized as learning centers, right? Where there's nothing in them but weapons and ammo caches, right? So they started blasting them, and then they made a lot of headway. They started rocking and rolling, taking down Fallujah big time. If they saw them running into mosques, they blew the hell out of those mosques. They saw them running into mosque learning centers, they blew the hell out of them, right? And that really took away the teeth of their fight. And from that point on, they rolled through Fallujah and just basically took it down, right? So, are we going to see the same thing here in America? Yes, we are. Yes, we are, right? So you need to share this big. You need to share this video right now, all right? All right, so let me share a little bit of this because it's all political. The political side of the Democrat side and some rhinos are helping this, help moving this along, guys, right? So we need to be aware of this. Now, if you look at George Webb, he's been doing this for like 10 years, all right? So he's been doing it for quite some time. It says, my first late night stakeout in 2017 at one of these mosques was the famous Al-Hizra Mosque in Virginia, Northern Virginia, where the 9/11 hijacker received their initial funding. All right, so it goes in to talk about Iranian influence networks, Pakistani. I spent a lot of time in Pakistan. They're a terrorist government. Pakistan is a terrorist government, right? The only one in the world, other than Iran. All right, so I misspoke. All right, Pakistan. I've been in Pakistan. It was very obvious to me. They're a terrorist supporting country. Where was bin Laden? He was hiding in Pakistan, right? So Iran, where a lot of these people hiding, probably in Iran, a lot of these terrorists. We had the same thing when we went into Iraq. So you got Iran, you got Iraq. A lot of Iranians were going into Iraq causing problems. We killed terrorists that had done terrorist attacks. They were hiding in Saddam Hussein's Iraq, and we being SEAL Team 6, we found them and killed them. Right. So it's tough. All right. So just recently, while they're doing this peace, I think like a couple of days ago, while we're doing this peace negotiation, is it a cover? mostly, yes. President Trump and team, the military, did a strike in Iraq and killed 4 very high-level Iranian generals in Iraq. So this has been going on for a long time. These Iranians fomenting terrorism and sending it around the world. Sending it around the world, guys. We have it here in America right now. So the longer we wait, and I don't think we're waiting. I think we're probably taking care of business. But I think that we need to be aware. Here's George Webb, right? Little cartoon George Webb. Right. So now I'm just going to just show this here. I'm not going to say any names, but you can look at these faces, and you know these people, these politicians. All right. So they're part of a web, guys. All right. The networks, political and foreign connections. I can't, do all of George Webb's stuff here. I mean, this is a pay site. I highly recommend. I'm promoting his pay site. Right. Go to his Substack, George Webb Substack, and this is how he's able to do this, and his team are able to do this because people like myself and hopefully a lot of you go in and contribute to a Substack, right? So this is part of the domestic footprint architecture here in the United States. So training centers, biological. So we knew for a long time in the SEAL teams, SEAL Team 6, all the SEAL teams, all the Special Forces units, we all train for biological weapons of mass destruction. We knew that probably the biggest threat to America was biological weapon attack. And when I first saw COVID, I was like, there it is. But it wasn't on the level that it could be. All right. So here we have Dr. Saina Bavari, who is an Iranian scientist. Hello. And he's been part of anthrax attacks, 2001 coronavirus exercise. So the capability is there. Can they take it to another level? Sports event vector concerns are very high right now, unfortunately. So there's the takeaways. This is what I wanted to share with you guys. This is my background. This is what I've studied, for decades and decades and decades in the SEAL teams and in the CIA. And I was involved during the Blackwater time. I did about a year with Blackwater. And part of that was in the CIA weapons of mass destruction, where they were looking for them in Iraq. So I was involved in that program looking for those, right? And they went to Syria, right? Where do you think Syria got their, the chemical weapons? Hello. All right. So we had traced it there. They shut down the program and said that there was nothing there. There was something there. All right. So there is definitely something here now in America, right? And the Trump administration, I believe, is well aware of it. Now, was Tulsi Gabbard withholding information, the DNI, Director of National Intelligence, was she withholding some of this information from President Trump? And now we see that, kind of conveniently, her husband has cancer. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I've had many loved ones that have passed away, but I kept going, right? And now we're hearing that Pam Bondi has cancer. Wow. So maybe that's why we haven't seen her. Yeah. So cancer is a convenient way to pull somebody off the stage. All right. So you're going to see probably a lot more people get cancer or have loved ones that get cancer, and they walk away from public office to handle that, right? Because we have infiltration all up and down the line in the military, in the political, of course, in the political spectrum, right? Even President Trump, when he comes in, it's hard. Remember his first term? It was hard for him to get good people. He was firing people left and right. Right? It's not stopped. It's not stopped. So here we're gonna see this thing start to be disclosed. Yes. So good job, George Webb. It fits a lot of stuff right now. And so you would think, oh, on Michael Jaco's show, he was disclosing George Webb. He's done intel and he's been very accurate. George Webb said that a lot of this stuff would happen, and I've been following this stuff for a long time. And he said that Pam, I don't know if he said Pam Bondi, but he did say some other people were going to probably go, and they did. So he's got some good intel. He's got good insights. I think we're going to see a lot of these people start to be pulled out off the stage because they're corrupted. All right, so many people are seeing these problems here in America. Are we going to see a good and fair election? Possibly not. All right, so is the Save America Act going to go through? It's possible. Now, the reason why I would say they're withholding it to the last minute, right, maybe, is because once it goes through, then these criminals that are stealing elections are going to be all in to stop it out. Will they use something like that to create, have another pandemic? Maybe they're withholding if they feel that they can still win, if they can still steal elections, so they can continue their operations to basically destroy America. If they still believe they can do that, which maybe we're allowing them to think that, then they won't do some of these planned operations, like have people go into these mosques and get the weapon systems and start coming out and creating havoc, right? Or some kind of biological. Now, I saw President Trump today in with his cabinet. I watched the whole thing. That should have been streamed to every classroom in America, right? Maybe not to, the juniors, but to definitely the seniors. I would say middle school to high school, because it basically had everything in there. You had the military, you had, what's going on with small business. Small business is at an incredible high. People working at an incredible high because President Trump is bringing back jobs. Small business, like I'm a small business with LifeWave. I'm helping a lot of people, create small businesses. Great opportunities are out there on a massive scale. A lot of people taking advantage of it. But you'll see where a lot of businesses, we got AI, we're laying off people. That opens up those people to go into the future stuff, guys, that's coming, right? And get involved in that. So look where, what's going on in the future. Now, when I do this secret space program show at 1:00, you guys want to watch it, because we're going to talk about some of the stuff, the technologies that are coming. The technologies that are in the secret space program, guys, are hundreds of years more advanced than what we have now. You've seen, these little ships that, go from the air right into the water like nothing. And submarines have clocked some of these underwater vessels or, craft or whatever, moving at speeds that are unbelievable, 200 miles an hour underwater, right? It's like the water doesn't even have an effect on them. And then they pop out to the surface and they go, whoop, and, at thousands of miles an hour or something crazy. And then they'll stop and do a right angle. That's incredible. And they will go into mountains. They would just fly in the mountains. Everybody's like, well, it must be a hole in the mountain and they got it like camouflage. No, they goes into different, and we're going to talk about that. All right. I'm going to talk about dimensional shifting, how we're able to do that. But you have to be trained in it. You have to understand it. And we're dumbed down in our educational system on purpose, right? So we're all going to learn that this stuff is completely capable. Now, and then the next show at 4:00, I have this incredible nurse. Like I said, Kimberly Overton is going to reveal. She talked about how in Henderson, Tennessee, the hospital she was in. I mean, I read some of her accounts, guys, and I'm like a Studley SEAL, CIA. You know, I've been in combat. I've seen horrible things. People try to kill me and all kind of crazy stuff, like I was just talking about. I was like poker face the whole time. I was like stoic and no problem. But I read some of her reports, and boy, whew, tears came to my eyes. So here I am, overseas, protecting America, and these friggin' jackasses are here killing Americans in this health unwellness system. All right. So she's going to talk about that. It's stunning. It's stunning, the information that she's been revealing. An insider during all that time frame. I'm losing channel after channel after channel, trying to warn everybody, don't do it, don't do it. I just looked at this one channel. It's a guy that I looked at long ago, and I think it was Officer Tatum. So Officer Tatum, I remember when he just got started, and I had like 250,000 subscribers. I got like 124 right now, and took me a year to get just to that point. I went to 250,000 in like less than a year during COVID because I was exposing so much stuff. But I remember the Officer Tatum. I was like, watch this guy, you know, he's really good. And he just had, you know, he was just starting out and he only had like, you know, 10, 20, 30, 40,000 subscribers. He's got, I think, close to 3 or 4 million subscribers now. Good for him. He hung in there. He worked the system, kind of like Nino. You know, he stayed in there. So imagine if I had stayed around, how many millions I would probably have at this point. God. But it's not about the numbers, right? It's about the quality. And I know you guys are all quality. So, all right, guys, that's all I got for now. You know, share this. Everybody needs to know what this money is being used for. They're putting weapons into these mosques and these leering centers. All right. Not a good thing. And it's not happening just in Minnesota. It's happening all over the country. Look at Texas. More mosques are being built in Texas than anywhere else. All right. So, and boy, I wouldn't, if those Texans find out there's some weapons in those mosques. All righty. Shit howdy. All right. Okay, guys. Lots of love. Stay in the love vibration. And I'll see you guys next time.